She wasn't canceled. She chose herself. The real reason Courtney Hadwin stepped away from the spotlight after America's Got Talent. When Courtney Hadwin first stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage, she looked like any shy 13-year-old girl. Her shoulders were tense, her voice was quiet, and her nervous smile made the audience wonder whether she was ready for the spotlight at all. Then the music started. Within seconds, everything changed. That timid teenager transformed into a powerhouse performer with a voice that seemed impossible for someone so young. Millions of viewers watched in complete disbelief as she unleashed a performance that would instantly become one of the most talked-about auditions in AGT history. Overnight, Courtney Hadwin became a global sensation. People called her the next Janis Joplin. Music legends praised her. The internet exploded with reactions. Television shows wanted interviews. Record labels began paying attention. But as quickly as the fame arrived, Courtney slowly stepped away from the spotlight. Fans began asking the same question. What happened to Courtney Hadwin? Why did one of the most unforgettable talents in AGT history seem to disappear? The answer is far more complicated than most people realize. This is the incredible story of Courtney Hadwin. Her rise, her struggles, the pressure of fame, and how she fought to rediscover herself. Courtney Hadwin was born on May 6, 2004, in Heselden, a small village in County Durham, England. Unlike many child stars who grow up in major cities surrounded by agents and producers, Courtney came from a quiet community where life was simple. Her parents worked hard and supported their children while encouraging them to follow their passions. Music became one of the biggest influences in Courtney's life from an early age. Even as a toddler, she reacted differently to music. When songs played in the house, she danced fearlessly. She moved with energy, emotion, and confidence. It was clear that music wasn't just something she enjoyed, it was something she deeply felt. As she grew older, that connection only became stronger. Teachers noticed she had a voice unlike anyone else her age. There was power, there was emotion, and there was something impossible to teach: authenticity. Courtney didn't sound polished or manufactured. She sounded real. Her classmates began recognizing her unique talent. Some called her rocker girl because she loved performing with passion and energy. By the time she was 12 years old, she had already started dreaming beyond her hometown. She wanted bigger stages, bigger audiences, and bigger opportunities. But dreams like that often feel impossible when you're just a kid from a small village. Still, Courtney refused to stop believing. Before America discovered Courtney, she had already spent years developing her talent. She performed at local events. She practiced constantly. She attended theater programs and singing classes to improve her stage presence. But despite her incredible voice, confidence wasn't always easy. Offstage, Courtney was naturally shy. Standing in front of strangers and speaking could feel terrifying. Ironically, singing became the place where she felt most comfortable. Music gave her freedom. When she sang, fear disappeared. It allowed her to express emotions she couldn't always put into words. That emotional connection would later become one of the reasons millions of people connected with her performances. She wasn't pretending. She wasn't acting. She was simply being herself. And audiences could feel it. In 2018, Courtney made a decision that would change her life forever. She auditioned for America's Got Talent. It was an enormous opportunity, but also an enormous risk. She was only 13. She had never experienced anything close to that level of pressure. Traveling to America alone was already intimidating. Competing in front of millions of viewers was something entirely different. But Courtney believed in her voice. And sometimes believing in yourself is enough to take the first step. When she arrived in the United States, excitement mixed with fear. Everything was bigger. The crowds, the cameras, the expectations. Yet she kept moving forward, because opportunities like this don't come often. When Courtney walked onto the AGT stage, the audience saw a nervous teenager. She barely spoke. Her body language revealed just how anxious she felt. Even the judges looked unsure. Then Simon Cowell asked if she was nervous. She quietly admitted that she was. Nobody could have predicted what happened next. The music began. Courtney started singing "Piece of My Heart." At first, there was curiosity, then disbelief, then complete shock. Her voice exploded with raw emotion, power, and energy. The audience couldn't believe what they were hearing. It felt less like watching a 13-year-old girl and more like witnessing a seasoned rock legend. Her performance was fearless, wild, passionate, unforgettable. By the end of the song, the crowd erupted. The judges stood to applaud. And Simon Cowell did something incredibly important. He pressed the golden buzzer. Confetti rained down as Courtney stood there overwhelmed with emotion. In that moment, her entire life changed. The audition spread across the internet almost immediately. Millions watched, millions shared, millions talked about Courtney Hadwin. Within a very short time, her performance became one of the most viewed auditions in AGT history. People around the world were fascinated. How could someone so young possess such a powerful voice? Music fans compared her to Janis Joplin. Reaction channels couldn't stop talking about her. News outlets covered her story. She was suddenly everywhere. For most people, this would seem like a dream come true. But fame has a side many people never see, especially for someone who is only 13 years old. Imagine waking up one day as a normal teenager. Then suddenly millions of people know your name. Millions have opinions about you. Millions expect something from you. That's what Courtney experienced. Fame arrived faster than anyone could prepare for. There were interviews, television appearances, rehearsals, travel, social media attention, endless expectations. People expected every performance to be better than the last. Every appearance had to be perfect. Every decision was being watched. For an adult, that pressure can be overwhelming. For a teenager, it can feel impossible. Behind the scenes, Courtney was still just a young girl trying to understand what was happening. She missed home. She missed friends. She missed normal life. And perhaps most importantly, she missed peace. Many fans saw Courtney as fearless. But courage doesn't mean you're never afraid. Courage means continuing even when you're scared. Over time, Courtney openly discussed struggles with anxiety. The pressure of constant attention became difficult. Being famous meant losing parts of a normal childhood. Social media brought both praise and criticism. Positive comments felt amazing. Negative comments hurt. No matter how talented someone is, harsh criticism can still affect them, especially when they're young. The world often forgets that celebrities are human. Child stars especially carry burdens they never asked for. Eventually, Courtney began stepping back. Some people assumed she had disappeared. Others believed she had quit music. Neither was true. She simply needed time. Time to breathe. Time to heal. Time to remember who she was outside the spotlight. Back in County Durham, life slowed down. And that was exactly what Courtney needed. Away from cameras and expectations, she could reconnect with herself. She spent time with family. She returned to familiar places. She focused on growth rather than fame. Sometimes stepping back isn't giving up. Sometimes it's the bravest decision you can make. Courtney understood that protecting her mental well-being mattered more than staying constantly visible. That choice likely saved her passion for music, because